Leadership is not a title, nor a position, it is a vibration of the soul that moves others toward greatness. In commanding others, but in mastering oneself. Every attribute in this book is a mirror, reflecting the kind of strength, humility, and emotional intelligence that creates lasting impact. The first attribute the author unveils is integrity. It is the foundation upon which every other quality rests. Leadership without integrity is like a house without a foundation, impressive at a glance, but doomed to collapse. The book invites us to look inward and ask, do my actions align with my words? Integrity is not about being perfect, it is about being consistent, honest, and transparent even when no one is watching. The author tells the story of a manager who once lost a promotion because he chose truth over convenience. In the long run, his authenticity built a reputation that outlasted every temporary setback. True leaders understand that credibility is earned in the quiet moments when no one is applauding. The second attribute is courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. The book reminds us that every leader faces storms, moments of uncertainty, criticism, or failure. Courage is what separates those who stagnate from those who grow. It's the voice that says, I may not have all the answers, but I will take the next step. Real-life stories of soldiers, entrepreneurs, and parents illustrate that courage often looks like vulnerability, being willing to risk, to admit mistakes, to stand up for what is right even when it costs something. Courage is the heartbeat of transformation. Then comes self-discipline, the third attribute, the quiet, unseen engine of greatness. The author beautifully describes discipline as the bridge between intention and realization. Leaders do not rise by luck, they rise by daily commitment. They train their minds and habits to stay focused on purpose rather than pleasure. Through consistent effort, waking early, planning effectively, listening deeply, they cultivate mastery. The book gives an example of a young athlete who trained every morning before dawn, not because anyone asked him to, but because he was loyal to his vision. Discipline, the author says, is love made visible, love for your mission, your people, and your future self. The fourth attribute is empathy, the ability to feel what others feel, to lead with heart rather than hierarchy. Leadership that lacks empathy turns mechanical, but leadership that embraces it becomes magnetic. The book shares the story of a CEO who began holding weekly, listening hours for his employees. Instead of issuing orders, he listened to their frustrations and ideas. Productivity soared, not because of new systems, but because people felt seen. Empathy bridges the gap between authority and humanity. It reminds us that leadership is not about control, it is about connection. The fifth attribute, decisiveness, reveals that leaders must be clear in vision and firm in choice. Indecision breeds confusion, and confusion weakens trust. Effective leaders understand that no decision is ever perfect, but timely, informed decisions move life forward. The author encourages us to balance intuition with information, and then act with confidence. A story of a young leader who hesitated too long during a crisis, only to lose his team's trust, becomes a powerful lesson. The world respects action more than hesitation. Leaders decide, learn, adjust, and grow. Next, the book explores accountability, the sixth attribute. Great leaders own their results, the triumphs and the mistakes alike. They never hide behind excuses or shift blame. Accountability builds respect faster than success does. The author tells of a project director who admitted his error in front of his entire team, not to shame himself, but to show that leadership is about responsibility, not image. That honesty turned failure into fuel for collective growth. In a world that rewards appearances, accountability reminds us that authenticity is the ultimate currency. The seventh attribute is vision, the ability to see what others cannot yet see. Vision gives purpose to effort and direction to energy. It is the light in the tunnel that guides the weary forward. The author says that vision is not fantasy, it is a deep conviction of what could be if we dare to build it. History's greatest leaders, from inventors to revolutionaries, shared this trait. They could envision a better tomorrow when the world was stuck in yesterday. The book teaches us that cultivating vision requires imagination, faith, and patience. A true leader lives with eyes on the horizon while keeping feet grounded in the present. The eighth attribute, humility, balances the power of leadership with grace. Humility is not weakness, it is strength under control. It is knowing that leadership is service, not superiority. The book highlights how the most respected leaders are those who lift others up rather than draw attention to themselves. A humble leader acknowledges the team, shares credit, and remains open to feedback. In one story, a decorated officer refused special privileges, choosing to eat last so his soldiers could eat first. That simple act inspired loyalty more than any speech ever could. Humility, the author writes, is the fragrance of greatness. Then comes communication, the ninth attribute, the art of translating vision into understanding. Great leaders know that words can heal or harm, inspire or isolate. Communication is not merely talking, it is listening with intention and speaking with clarity. The author stresses that effective communication flows from empathy. When you truly understand your audience, your words carry weight. A moving example tells of a leader who transformed a demoralized team by simply holding open conversations where everyone's voice mattered. Leadership communication is not about perfection, it is about presence, showing up, speaking truth, and creating shared meaning. The 10th attribute is adaptability. The world changes, markets shift, crises emerge, people evolve. Leadership that refuses to adapt becomes obsolete. Adaptability means flexibility without losing direction. It is the wisdom to change the path while keeping the destination. The book illustrates this with the story of a businesswoman whose company faced digital disruption. Instead of resisting change, she retrained her team, embraced technology, and found growth in uncertainty. Her ability to learn, pivot, and stay grounded became her greatest asset. Adaptability reminds us that resilience is not rigid, it's fluid. Finally, the 11th attribute, inspiration, ties everything together. True leaders don't just manage, they ignite. They awaken the potential in others by embodying the principles they preach. Inspiration is contagious energy, a light that spreads without words. The book ends with a powerful message. Leadership is not about being followed, it's about awakening the leader within others. Through acts of courage, compassion, and conviction, a leader multiplies leaders. The world doesn't need more bosses, it needs more beacons. Throughout the book, each attribute builds upon the next, forming a circle of mastery. Integrity anchors courage, courage fuels discipline, discipline enables empathy, empathy deepens vision, and vision blossoms into inspiration. It is a chain of virtues, each one feeding the next. But the author also reminds us that leadership is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey of becoming. You may embody one attribute fully and struggle with another, but growth itself is leadership. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, empathy over ego, courage over comfort, you led. The book closes with a reflection that feels almost spiritual. Leadership is not what you do for others, it is what you awaken within them. It challenges the reader to stop seeking authority and start cultivating authenticity. Because when you lead with heart, the world listens differently. In the end, the 11 attributes of effective leadership is not just a manual for success, it is a mirror for the soul. It calls us to embody the quiet power that transforms lives, to live by principles rather than popularity, and to remember that the greatest leader is the one who serves with love, acts with courage, and inspires with integrity.